Looking at public infrastructure, this is an area that the Egyptian military have been involved in for decades. And it's a good example of the nature of their activity and just how extensive it is. Now, for a long while, this was relatively modest. They started off working on land reclamation, that is, turning desert areas into land that could be cultivated for agriculture. In the late 1970s, after the peace with Israel, the army led the way in reconstructing cities and infrastructure along the Suez Canal that had been damaged severely during the war with Israel. But with that exception, their overall contribution to public infrastructure was relatively modest until 2011 with the revolution that threw out President Hosni Mubarak. Since then, however, there's been a major shift. And under President Sisi, the military have been assigned a lead role in the government's crash program of investing in housing and public infrastructure. They manage now approximately 1/4 of total government spending in these sectors over the past 4 or 5 years. So that's approximately 370 billion Egyptian pounds, which at today's rate, are something like sort of $24 billion, which might not seem like a lot in the US or in Europe. But in terms of Egypt, that's a great deal of money, and is partly why the Egyptian government has now gone back into severe debt in terms of domestic debt and external debt. But it gives us a sense of the scale of what the military is doing compared to overall government expenditure on public infrastructure.